if you started working with someone who told you to do exactly the way that person wanted to get things done, would you like to work with that person?
Meet Pankaj Bhargav.
Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you.
As far as I know, you've been in this consulting field
For about 16 years now.
16 years, and
Yeah.
that's amazing. And you've had to deal with so many entrepreneurs. What were the shifts that you had to face?
So, I told you that the fundamentals of business and people are the same, right? And I do believe they've been the same across the years. However, with the change in the environment and the change of generations, the manifestation of those fundamentals or the way they get applied has changed.
Right.
So that's how I would look at the shift. So for example, you are a pretty young generation, right? So the way you've been brought up, and I'm sure you heard stories from your parents about how they thought they were brought up or how they experienced being brought up. Isn't there a difference?
There is.
Right? So the generation today, for example, wants to express themselves, right? Wants to be involved, wants to be part of decision making. That's not how it was, let's say, 2 or 3 generations back. And therefore, the way the organizations behaved could be very different. Right? Now, if an entrepreneur who belongs to the previous generation or the one before that believes that they should be working with people or they should be dealing with things the way they were dealt with, right? They are unlikely to be able to work with the new generation, right? So, for example, if you started working with someone who told you to do exactly the way that person wanted to get things done, would you like to work with that person?
No.
Right? Okay, but perhaps your father or his father may have been okay doing that. Right? Now, does it mean that the fundamentals of people have changed? Is it that they didn't want to express themselves? Perhaps they did. But at that stage, the environment was such that if they expressed themselves, perhaps they ran the risk of losing their job. Right? And at that point in time, that was important given the economic situation. Today, would you ever worry about losing a job if you had one?
No.
Right? Why?
Because we also have a lot of other things that we are good at, in terms
Absolutely.
of skill sets.
Absolutely.
So it's not just one skill that we are mastering.
Yeah, and maybe people were good at multiple things even in the past, but the kind of opportunities that are there today were not there. So with the change in the environment, the application of the fundamentals changes. Right? Now, perhaps even in the past, there would have been some entrepreneur, some organization who would have said, look, I want to give freedom to my people to express themselves. Now, chances are, people in those organizations were far happier than those organizations where they didn't have the opportunity to express themselves.
Right.
So the fundamentals have not changed, but the application would have changed. So those are the shifts that are happening, and they are beginning to happen at a much more rapid pace than it was in the past. Right? I'm sure you've been seeing things like AI and ChatGPT and stuff like that, right? Now, if I recognize that, look, there are certain things that can be available at a much faster pace, and I don't leverage that, I would lose out. Now, that fundamental of business has been there even in the past, that if I don't understand what it takes to win in the business, right, I would lose out. That's a fundamental. Right. Now, the application of that has changed. The pace of that may have changed because of technology.
Correct.
It's
more rapid now.
Yeah. So again, when you talk about simplicity, if you understand that each of the fundamentals is a simple truth or a simple aspect that lies across ages, whether it is about people or about business, it makes life simple.